I'm here with Greg McDaniel, who is my new partner on Real Estate Coach, Real Estate Coach Uncensored, will be on Property TV starting in January of 2020. We're going to give you a preview of what to expect. Greg, thank you for being with me today.
Ross, I couldn't, Bernice.
Whatever, call me Ross, whatever.
You know what, Bernice, this is going to be a phenomenal new, channel that we're going to be creating. We're going to be coming out with hard-hitting training, some great interviews, a variety pack of just really good content for the new agent, the seasoned agent, and everybody in between. You know, my podcast, I've been running Real Estate Uncensored for the last 4.5 years. One of the highly acclaimed shows on iTunes, on YouTube, and so on and so forth. And you and I, collaborated. Go back, you guys. We can watch some of our past stuff, but I'm excited to be a part of this because you and I have uniquely different personalities, but it's going to be so much fun for us to banter back and forth. And as we were doing some show prep here for this, one of our first episodes and shows, we were talking about what NAR is putting out there about these pocket listings. And we both had some aha moments. And at this point, when people are you guys are viewing this, it should be into effect, right, Bernice? Because it doesn't, when does it go into effect?
Actually, I think they have, it goes into effect in January, but the MLSs have some time to do the implementation after that. So it's going to be coming up. I can't remember if it's April or May, but let's talk about this. So what happened essentially yesterday, we're recording this just the day after this happened, is that the National Association of Realtors passed a resolution that would require you can no longer do pocket listings. If you publicly market a listing, you put a sign, you put it in, you put any kind of marketing materials out there, you have to have it in the MLS within 24 hours. So that is a big change. So Greg, you're out in the field. How's that going to impact your business?
Well, it's going to impact our business. Not in where we are. We don't see it happening a lot. But one of the things that been doing some research on some other, I guess we're going to say pocket listings that I have that we'll talk about in a minute. Kind of what I've created, unbeknownst to myself, what I've created on this is that if in California, and I advise any of you guys nationwide or anywhere in the world that you guys are listening to this, go and talk to your local association, your local broker, and really understand your own documentation. But here in California, we can put them under what they call the RLA, Real Estate Listing Agreement. And once they're under the Real Estate Listing Agreement, we can then have a secondary document. And this is called the SELM. What that does, it excludes the seller and yourself legally from putting on the MLS and putting a sign in the front yard. So you can do the promotion of the property for a set amount of time without having to break any laws. Now, who knows? Is it going to be holding true?
That's my guess.
Yeah, I think it's going to go away too. But right now, it's holding true. But I still don't understand why that would be a negative thing, especially if the seller has explicitly told you, "I do not want to be on the MLS, Greg." I mean, how can an association tell the seller, "Hey, Mr. Seller, you own your property, but we're going to dictate to you exactly what you can do and can't do to sell it"? I don't think that's right.
First of all, you still have the option of not having your property on the MLS. That the seller just says, "I do not want it on the MLS," and this is what, if you've worked the ultra luxury market, that there are sellers. You take someone like Bill Gates; he's not putting his property on the MLS. It's not happening. These fall into the category of discreetly marketed properties that never hit the MLS. And they are marketed, the people who we see going on now in Beverly Hills, I'm seeing they're putting 5 or 6 top agents on some of these very large properties just to get access to the people that are in these different, there are different contact lists of, hedge fund managers, these ultra high-end owners. So your seller always has that option of saying, "No, I do not want my property listed on the MLS, period. I do not want to sign," because they're concerned about kidnapping and other kinds of problems as well.
And that's a valuable, whatever. It's a good argument. Okay. Cat got my tongue today, but I mean, in Manhattan, they don't have really an MLS to really work off of. And is this going to affect them? Because when they're going to get eyeballs on their properties, they're throwing parties, they're, getting influencers in, they're doing it in a totally different method. Are they going to be required to get an MLS and then put the properties on? Because these people are selling 10, 15, 20, whatever $1 million amount of homes. I mean, that's the ultra exclusive that we're talking about, right?
Well, no, we're talking Beverly Hills, San Francisco, Seattle, Washington. I mean, it can be anywhere in the country. Warren Buffett's in Nebraska. He's not putting his house on the market.
Right.
Maybe you
So,
would.
oh,
So, but
we all wish they would, because I want to go be a nosy neighbor and go poke around their house. I mean, let's be honest, that'd be a lot of fun, but it's not going to happen.
well, when you get into the ultra high end too, you have people being pre-qualified before they're ever setting foot on the property for a whole variety of reasons, but that's a whole
Yes.
different conversation. So let's bring it back to where we are right now in terms of what's happening with this particular market. So the question is, can we do coming soon listings? And I guess one option, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, or is I could take the listing effective today with the showings to begin 2 weeks from now while my seller is getting the property ready. That protects, it protects me.
It
But
does.
I can set it, I submit it to the MLS. So I'm building, I'm getting people really interested driving by the property. And again, you need to make sure that your sellers are, aware and okay with this. And if anybody knocks on the door, just tell them no showings until this date as per our contract.
Yeah.
So, but
We're
you're
seeing
protected if you do that.
We're seeing that happen right now. We've seen it happen for quite a while. We'll see a seller, a homeowner, an agent put the property on the MLS, no showings until, this date after tour or whatever they're going to say. Now, as an agent who has a buyer, that's extremely annoying, because you call your agent, your clients are going to see this on all the different services. They're like, hey, Greg, let's go look at this house. Oh, I can't show it to you, man. What do you mean? Well, I can't show it to you after this date. And then they get frustrated, and then sometimes they walk away and go find something else they can get into right away. So yes, it does protect the seller, but it also irritates the buyers. So it's a yin and yang. Which one are you willing, which devil are you willing to dance with?
Well, right now the devil we're dancing with is the seller, because listings are so scarce and there's an abundance of buyers in most places in the country. Can you get an ultra high end? What I'm hearing from the Woman Up research I've been doing for the California Association is that they've actually now no entry level properties. Middle is soft in some parts of the country. Middle is they don't have move up properties for them, or they're just staying put. And then the high end is seeing some decline in pricing.
We are seeing a decline. Actually, the San Francisco Bay Area, we've seen actually a 2% decline, while the rest of the market, rest of the nation, we've seen an increase. So we're a little bit of an anomaly here. San Jose, just south of me where I'm sitting, they've actually seen a little bit more of a decrease, but they're also in the tech hub of basically the world, essentially, Silicon Valley. So the median house there, I think, is $1.2 million or $1.3 million. I mean, at the medium price point, which is kind of scary for most of the nation and most of the world to really kind of think about. The pocket listings, I've always thought that pocket listings have been a very powerful tool. So if I'm at an open house and I meet you, Bernice, and your husband come through, I can say, Bernice, I have a couple of properties that are not on the market. This is kind of where they are, what their attributes are. Would you be interested in seeing them? So what you're saying to me is I no longer have that leverage because of the on high benevolency of our leadership has dictated down to all of us peon agents saying, look, you can no longer have the leverage that you've always had for a long period of time. And I'm fascinated to see that.
But why, first of all, the first thing I want to do when I have, one of the things I've always suggested with open houses is that you have what I call a switch list. And these are properties that are not being held open today.
Yes.
This property is not available to be shown yet because they're working on it. So I can set up a showing that's scheduled to go on the market on this date. Would you like me to set up a showing for that date? So there's your close for it.
So these are already listed. This is what you're telling me. So these are not true pocket listings.
Well, they are
not on the
pocket
market
listings.
yet.
They're coming on I know that might say that, my next door neighbor, husband just died. She's moving out and she's fixing up the house, doing some work to it. You don't want to, she doesn't want to be bothered, until the house is ready to go. So I know there's a listing coming up in this subdivision. It will be around this price point. I can show it to you. The first day it can be shown as this. I can schedule the appointment for as early as you want that day. Would you like to see it then? So then you're not getting into that discussion of saying, I want to get you in that first day. I think that would work pretty well, don't you?
It should work. I just have a real issue with being dictated to, and there's already enough rules and regulations. I'm one of those guys that had colored hair, ear piercings, tattoos, whole 9 yards. I went hard left on everything that was mainstream and cool. I'm like, let's go paint my hair purple and black and get earrings. Obviously, that's not who I am today. But this,
I would have liked to have seen that though.
No, these are college photos. They stay in the college photo book.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to see those.
But I mean, it's one of those things is that we're supposed to have freedom of speech, freedom of choice, freedom of everything. But the amount of rules and legislation that is put on us and put us in these tinier and tinier and tinier and tinier lanes, at some point, we're all going to throw up our hands and be like, dude, F off. Stop telling me what to do. Let me just run my business.
But what you're talking about right now is the regulatory environment, and it comes and it springs out of the litigation, and it's about the industry protecting itself. You know, that the idea that there's 120 pages of loan documents and you have any say so about them is just, you know, that's
it's asinine.
So let's come back to, because you have come up with the most brilliant strategy that I've heard for getting around the pocket listing issue that NAR just passed.
Yes.
And, you know, Greg was telling me about it. And as soon as I saw this, I said, we've got to get this out right now, because this is absolutely the best idea. And this is going to work. So Greg, tell me what you're doing and what it's based upon.
Okay, great. So what I do is I have my little black book that I write everything down. This came from one of my old brokers, and I had no idea what to do with this thing. And I covered up their name, if you can't tell. But, you know, what I do is I take this little black book, and when I get, you know, people's information, I put their information in here, right? And these are people who are sellers. These are people who are buyers. And I get these people through my prospecting calling that I do. And I use a system called RedX. And I call the for rent by owners, the for sale by owners, the expireds, the pre-foreclosures. And I go through these. And if you know, Bernice and I will release a little bit more about what we're doing with this, you know, kind of elite prospecting, you know, kind of content we're putting out. But I can show you exactly how to have conversations, the dialogues, the tonalities, the delivery systems. Now, what I was doing, Bernice, is I was finding people that absolutely wanted to do something, but had zero desire to go on the MLS. So for years, I've been collecting all this dead wood, and I'm like, what in the blah, blah, blah do I do with all this content? And I just kind of just throw it by the side, because my linear brain was saying, well, you got to stay in this lane. You can only do this. I'm like, well, that's bullshit. I got to write this stuff down. I got to start putting this somewhere. I got to really understand what's going on. So I started collecting this stuff, right? And it's like you take the shells off of your eyes and you start seeing what's out there. And so what I've created is this. I have this guy, Billy. He wants to sell a 5-acre parcel. Doesn't want to go on the MLS. Eli, he's going to be selling his house to my best friend and his wife. Nico wants to sell another property. Jose wants to sell me one of his condos. Terry's an investor, might want to buy and sell a couple more properties. All these people, you create your own ecosystem of real estate. Now, I know MLS is a trademarked word, but for lack of a better term,
no, I don't want you to go there. No, we're not going to go to MLS. What you've done is
one
twofold.
side listing. Yes.
You have essentially, and we know that you can do this because Zillow has been doing Make Me Move
forever
for a very, very long period of time. Now the sellers are going directly there, but if I list a property, I can put it in the Make Me Move part of Zillow. But, and that, by the way, that's another place you can market your listings for free, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Just as an aside. But what you've done is you have created a pool of one-party listings.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can say, I have, I have a series of privately marketed listings that, we have to sign a specific one-party listing agreement with Mrs. Buyer to get in to see it.
Yep.
So absolutely. There's no other way you're getting to see it. So now what you have is a super exclusive list just coming off your prospecting of people who are in that Make Me Move, that, what Zillow calls it, but it's your little black book.
It's my own little black book. And I can control everything about this. And I can, I always used to say, you take a hand and a glove, you put them into each other, and you make a perfect fit for the people that are out there. One of the things that I've created is not a spreadsheet, but a Word document that if people are interested, I give no specific information about that, where the address is. I say it's in this city, bed and bath, type of property, general description of the home. I do an exterior photo, blur out any information about address or location or anything like that, so they can see the condition of the property. And then I'll email that to people and say, well, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, these are the properties that are not currently on the open market, but I have direct access to. If you would like to see them, just identify which property it is. I'll reach out to the seller. We'll sign the one person listing agreement, or whatever the term you said there.
One party.
one party listing agreement, which protects me, which protects the seller, protects us with the buyer. And we go show the property. And if they want another one, great. We'll sign another document. We'll go see another property. It's a uniquely interesting way to make yourself stand out in the pool of the sea of real estate agents that do exactly the same thing. They're cardboard. Everyone does the same thing. They expect a different result. That's the definition of insanity. So find a hole and plug it and fix the gap. What is missing in your market? What is missing? What can you do to stand out, right? And this thing, I'm telling you, man, I just tell them I have a little black book of properties that nobody else knows about. Would that be helpful or interesting to you?
And they go, yes.
Their heads stop. They're like, well, tell me more. I'm like, no problem. What were you looking for? And I just dive in and I'm able to go after with them. And it makes me more valuable. I become sticky to them. And two, I then say, hey, look, if this is helpful for you, tell your friends and family, tell anyone who's thinking about buying or selling real estate, tell me what they're looking for, and I will go hunt it down for you when I'm doing the calls, and I'll bring back only what you're looking for, nothing else.
Now, to use this technique, clearly you have to be willing to do cold calls or door knock or do whatever it is to generate people who would like to sell but who do not want to list. And, I could even see you doing a print marketing campaign. You have an open house, you're not ready, and you're inviting people to attend the open house. Hey, we might be interested in selling, and then I could say, would you be willing to sell your house if I bring you a buyer, but we have to do a one-party listing. So you explain how to do that. I think this is, everybody else is going, they're throwing their hands up in dismay about this new rule, or they're happy about it. But the question is, what do you do with it now to set yourself apart and to make more money? And Greg, you have nailed it.
Thank you, my dear friend. I got so frustrated. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just started putting together a list. I bet you anything, Bernice, a lot of people could do the exact same thing right now when the conversations that they're having with folks, and just bring value to that seller, not pushing them onto the open market. You got to go now, because I want to have the prettiest listing in the neighborhood. What about just saying, hey, look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know you don't want to sell right now, but like you said, Bernice, if I brought a willing and able buyer, would you be willing to sell it for a fair market value? And just run with it on that front. Keep a list though. Make sure, good Lord, put it in a CRM or a little black book, or whatever, yellow sheet. I mean, whatever works for you, man. But
get it into a CRM and back it up in the little black book, because you want it in both places in case either one of them crashes and burns, figuratively or literally.
Literally, imagine this thing. If this thing like somehow walked away from me, that's millions of dollars in volume and hundreds of thousands of dollars in commission.
My friend, you have a camera. Start taking pictures of it. Or get somebody to hire a VA to enter it into your CRM.
Take photos, stupid. Yeah, no, that's actually a really good idea. That's seriously a good idea.
So anyway, to wrap up for today, what's your one final takeaway? First of all, I'm so excited because you're already doing, where can people go to hear you do these cold calls that you do? That's through, is that through Real Estate Coach Uncensored, which is your show with Matt Johnson?
Yeah. No, that's not with the Johnson face. Where you guys can go if you want to watch that, go to my personal Facebook page. I do it there right now. If not, I'll let you guys know where I'm going to do it later. But it's just go to Greg McDaniel. You'll see this ugly mug with a big old microphone in my face, and just go there. I do it from 4:30 on average, 4:30 to 5:30 Monday through Thursday during the week. And I'm going to start putting a lot of these on YouTube as well. But right now, Facebook is the best place to go take a look at those, and then jump in, follow me. Turn your notifications on so you know when I go live. Come on in, ask questions. If you guys want, what we're going to do is probably start bringing people in to do calls and analyzing with them live on air, and just having a lot of fun. So go there, find me, Greg McDaniel. You guys can get it there, and you can watch my podcast on Friday afternoons there as well. So.
Great. Well, Greg, this has been terrific. And I'm very excited because you and I are going to be putting together the training that actually shows people how to do this. Look for that product later in 2020. I'm very excited about it because I think this is a brilliant approach. And, this is something, here's another case of what old is new. People were doing one-party listings. They've done them for decades. Yeah. And here's a new application today in response to what NAR's changes have been in the no-pocket listing law. So this is a win-win. Greg, thank you for being with us today.
Bernice, my pleasure as always. Thanks for having me. And guys, stay up with us. Bernice and I got some incredible stuff coming down the pipe.
Yes, look for our new show, Real Estate Coach. And, I'm real estate coach. He's the uncensored part, which you probably already figured out.
Hey, I am the uncensored part. And I hope you guys enjoy it because I'm just going to say what everyone else is thinking.
And on that note, thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure, Bernice.